Alright, kindergartners, this is going to be your first kindergarten skills activity. So at this point, you should have read Smoky Night by Eve Bunting, and if you've really paid attention to the artwork that was shown to you, you notice that a lot of the artwork in this book has a very thick black outline around all the shapes, very similar to a cartoon character, and very similar to a piece of stained glass. Stained glass is when you're looking at a window and it has a lot of beautiful colors, and they're all pieced together with different colors of glass. So we are actually going to make our own version of stained glass using rulers. So this is what we're going to work on today. We're going to work on line skills, using a ruler, and coloring back and forth. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is when you go back to your tables, you are going to get a sheet of white paper. And you are going to get a ruler and a black crayon. So when you are using a ruler, you need to realize that you need to have 2 points that you're touching on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to spread it out as wide as I can. And this is the hand that I don't write with. So I hold a pencil in this hand. So this is my hand that I do not write with. And I'm going to hold it down on the ruler. I'm stretching my fingers out really, really wide, and I'm pushing them down on that ruler. And notice my ruler is covering both the top edge and the bottom edge. So now when I hold my crayon, I'm going to hold it just like I hold the pencil, with a thumb on the side, pointer finger on top, and my middle finger wrapped around. And I'm going to make sure it's touching right along that edge of my ruler, and I'm going to run it right down. I'm pushing down with my other hand the whole time. Notice that my fingers were not in the way of the ruler. So I'll give you an example. Again, taking my hand, I'm stretching it out really wide, and I'm going to make another line. Yeah, I'm going to make sure my fingers don't get in the way like this, because then I can't get around it. Because watch. Oh no, now I couldn't get around it with my crayon. See how that wouldn't work? Oh no. So make sure it's out of the way, and you're pressing down really hard the whole time. Really working with both hands. Alright, so now I do two lines going this way, and maybe I want to draw a line over here. Pressing down with my ruler, keeping my thumb and my pointer finger really far apart. Maybe I want to go from the top. Notice how I'm moving my paper so I get a better angle for myself. So maybe I want to go from the top of my paper all the way down to the bottom. But you guys notice, and I'll point it down a little bit more so you can see, my ruler doesn't reach all the way to the bottom. So what I can do is I can run my ruler around my pencil along my ruler, and then I can actually scoot it down, line it up, press down again, and finish up my line. Right now, I've drawn 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want us to make sure that we're not drawing any more than 6 lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can draw 2 more lines. So I might draw one going like this. And maybe my last one is going to go right here. Okay, and notice every time I use my ruler, I didn't try to freehand it. Once you are done with your black crayon, you are going to make a pile of these at your table. They do not go back in your crayon boxes because these are special black crayons. So we're going to put those in a different pile with all of our classmates. And your pile will look like this where they're sitting next to each other. So put that right there, or you might put them back in a basket if that's ready for you. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to pick out one color. So I'm going to pick out one color from my crayon box, and then I'm going to put the crayon box back so that everybody else at my table can reach it. And then I'm going to find which box I want to color in. So I think I'm going to color in this one. And then I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my paper so it's easier for me to color, and I'm going to hold my crayon with my thumb on the side, my pointer finger on the top, and my middle finger wrapped around the bottom. And then I'm going to color back and forth. And when you're coloring back and forth, you want to make sure that you're pushing down just a little bit. You don't want to push it down so hard that you're hurting your crayon. You're pushing down just a little bit. Now, I am also overlapping my crayon. So every time I put down one little bit of color, I'm putting down another little bit on top, and then I keep going and going. So every time, it's like wearing a jacket. When you have a jacket on, you have one shirt underneath, and then you have another coat layered on top. So we're going to layer and overlap our crayon. So watch, put it down, and then I go back over that same spot, back over, and I don't want to see any big spots. I don't want to see this, none of that. I want to really see you going back and forth, Let me adjust that so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. Until I fill in my entire shape. And it's okay if you accidentally get some crayon on the table. I understand. And you really want to make sure that you're taking your time. Oops, that happens, that's okay. Just try to hold it down so you don't have that issue. And you can go back in and fill in different areas. Then you'll put your crayon back, and you'll say, may I please have the crayon box instead of just grabbing it, and then you'll pick a different color crayon. So maybe I'm going to pick this color, this orange. Now I'm going to color in this triangle over here, and you can color in whichever shapes you want. And notice how I got a little bit outside my line? That's okay. I'm actually going to zoom in here so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go down, and back up, down, and back up. It's like tiny little zigzags, making sure that I'm going down and back up. I'm overlapping every time I go. Every time I go. It's like a really tightly wound snake. And I keep doing that the whole way. And notice that you can sometimes press lightly on a crayon to get a lighter color, or you can press really dark on a crayon to get a much darker color. Notice I'm holding my paper if that edge starts to come up, so I can put my finger there so I don't have that problem. I'll move my fingers. Keep going. Notice I'm moving my paper every time so I don't have to reach. It's always a good idea to move your paper. Okay. All right. So you're going to continue coloring until you have almost all of it or all of it filled in. And then at the very end of class, you're going to get a little sheet of paper from me that looks like this. And on it, it says name, and then it has a line because that's where you're going to write your name. It says book read, because we read Smoky Night by Eve Bunting. Art focus, we focused on line. And skills, how to hold a pencil, how to use a crayon, and how to color in back and forth. And what you're going to do is you're going to flip this over so you can't see any of the writing. And you're going to take your glue. And notice, when you're opening your glue, if you twist it, and you should see a gap. So that's open. There's a gap right there. And then this is closed. You need to make sure it's open. So there's a gap there. Also, if you hear air like this coming out of your glue, that means you're all ready to use it. So I'm going to flip it upside down, and I'm going to put 3 dots. Dot, dot, not a, or 4 dots, sorry. Dot, dot, not a lot. And then I'm going to close my glue again, and I'm going to press on it. Do you hear any air? Nope, no air. You're going to flip it over and pat it down. And then you're going to write your name on here. So I would write Miss Martinelli. And at this point, you're totally done. And then you're going to come visit me at the drying rack so this stuff does not get stuck to the table. If you guys have any questions, just let me know.